I thought I clicked the intro, but I clicked the camera. I guess I slipped with my mouse at the last second. It's bad when your mouse slips. Well, good morning. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Man Cave. One thing I've always said is that when I screw up, I do that better than anybody. Got the Martin Sigma all finished here, and I saw that Mark's already in the comments there. So the Martin Sigma is up in real good shape. I buffed out the top on there. Look at that thing shine. Sounds pretty good. Plays real easy, if you ask me. Common sense ain't that common anymore. And I wonder, was it ever common? Or just a metaphor? I think the way we raise our kids, it's out the door. No, I don't think common sense is common anymore. Smartphones do the thinking for the group. More power in your hand than Armstrong took to the moon. We don't use our minds to complete any chore. No, I don't think common sense is common anymore. Our leaders make new laws we can't enforce. Catch and release is the method they all endorse. And when something doesn't work, they just spend a lot more. No, I don't think common sense is common anymore. No, I don't think common sense is all that common anymore. I think the little Martin Sigma turned out just fine. You remember that sign from yesterday? So I thought I'd play that song today. I'm going to compare this to the Martin Special that I have in here right now. Leon's guitar. We'll compare the two in terms of sound and just see what they sound like comparatively. I haven't really done that yet. I've got them both tuned up, but I haven't played them side by side yet, so we'll do that here in a few minutes. Right now, I thought I'd it's going to be fairly short, I think, today, or at least my part of the presentation will be. We'll go into the comments and see how short it is. Excuse me. But I just wanted to let you guys know that out of the blue, well, not really so much out of the blue. It's been building over time, but I am really getting besieged with products to promote. Now, I'll tell you right now, the money thing is not the thing with me. You know, if it's a good product that I think I can use, I'm typically accepting it. If it's some product that they just want me to promote, like I'm getting all kinds of silly stuff. I mean, like eye massager. Well, sorry, I'm not interested. Things like that. Now, that might be something you're interested in, but it's not anything I'm interested in. So therefore, I'm turning down tons of them. And I mean tons of them. For every one I accept, I turn down probably 6 or 7. And I'm not kidding. It's crazy how many I'm getting. You wouldn't believe it. In fact, it's like spam the other way around. It's everybody wanting you to promote their product. Well, I'm just trying to be clear with you so you understand where I'm coming from. Again, if it's a product I can use, like the Vevor sheet metal press, I can use that, Sure, I'll promote that product. Send it to me, that kind of thing. So that little electric lawnmower, I asked Sue, I said, do you want me to accept this or not? And she said, yeah. She says, I think I can use that. And so sure enough, we use it. And I'll show you here in a second in a little video clip that we're still using it. But anyway, things like that. Well, here's another product. I'm not going to mention the product yet, and I haven't officially accepted it yet, but I've expressed interest. And that is that they're going to offer me, and this is not the first one, and a lot of them I've turned down. But this is the first one that I'm thinking about accepting. They're offering me $2,000 to promote their product. In addition, they're going to send me their product. Well, would you turn that down? I mean, honestly, ask yourself. You can call me a sellout if you want to, but this is my income now. So, and it's a product that I can use. I wouldn't accept it if it wasn't. We do have a specific purpose for the product. Exactly. And so I think it's a no-brainer. So I just want you to know you're going to see more of that coming up. And you can call it a sellout if you want to, but I'll bet you 99.9% of you would do the same thing. And that 0.1% that says he wouldn't, in my opinion, you're lying. So there you go. I just trying to be honest and upfront with you so you understand. Okay, let's see here. I have a little short video of around the house, and then we'll go on from there. I'm out here in the backyard this morning, and we're looking at the water that runs under the house. You know, what they did was they made this house a dam. They built it all the way to that hillside and all the way to this hillside. And the pipe runs from right under here all the way through and right under that part of the house there. This used to be a separate house. I think that was a mother's house or mother-in-law's house or something. And the main house was over here, and then they linked the two houses together eventually. So let's see what's coming out on the front end. This, as I've told you, this used to, the dirt used to come down to the house right here. This whole hillside came right down, and the water would run down here and really run up against the house, which was really kind of a dumb design. So I dug all this out and put this rock in here. That was quite a project. And let's take a look around over here and see how the water is coming out from under the house here. You can see it's almost a canal. You could almost take a float trip. Kind of a pretty view. You can see here, this is where I trenched the cable through earlier this spring, and hardly any trace of it at this point. Here's where the cable comes in the house right here. I'm walking to stay out of the mud, and here's the front yard, and it was recently cut a second time with that little electric mower. That little electric mower's got more guts than I ever thought. And in fact, I used it yesterday out there in the tall weeds way back, about halfway back on the valley, around two big springs. I cut two areas, probably 20 foot by 20 foot, and another third area about that same size. So anyway, for metal detecting. And it was in tall weeds that were up to my knees. And that little electric lawnmower handled it. Now, I'll be honest, you had to baby it through that kind of stuff and maybe take a half a cut and that sort of thing. But as far as cutting a little small lawn like this, that little electric lawnmower is where it's at as far as I'm concerned. Beautiful morning. Hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, that little electric lawnmower is better than I ever thought it would be. Do I think it's, a good answer for everybody? No, not even close. I think if you have a small yard like that little small front end there and you keep after it, I don't see how you could do much better than that little electric lawnmower. I would rather have that than to mess with the darn gas engine, because you know how that is. If it sits over the winter, the next winter or the next spring, it's a 50-50 if it's going to start, and then you got to deal with all that. Where this, you just put the battery in it and go. There's nothing to it. You don't have to try to start it. You don't have to have gas and oil. You don't have to do any of those things. So it's pretty awesome if you ask me. But again, it's only for certain circumstances. So don't buy it if you think you've got an acre and you're going to cut an acre with it. That would be silly. Anyway, next thing is I told you I cut two little places out there around these two springs. One of them is where I found that wedding ring, the first wedding ring. And you know, they're, I don't know, maybe 20-foot square around the spring. There's 2 springs out in that field. So I cut 2 big places plus a path all the way to them. So I used the more for that. That thing's so light, it's easy to carry, you know. And the reason I did that was I wanted to take my new metal detector out there and check around those. Well, I did, and I found lots of nails. That's about all I found. I didn't find anything decent. But then I cut another, I told you I cut a 3rd place, about the same size, by an old gate. And I found this. It's probably the 5th or 6th, or maybe even more, because I haven't looked. I've just thrown them all in a big heavy drawer, and I haven't pulled everything out to see how many of these I have. But this is at least the 5th one, I'm pretty sure. And it's a plowshare, or, you know, it's spelled S-H-A-R-E, but all the people I ever knew always called it a plowshare. So it's spelled share, though, but whatever. Doesn't matter what you call it. It's what you do with it if you know how to use it. That's the point. And of course, I do know what this is for and how to use it. But this is made by Oliver, and it was 19DS. And I think this is the second one of the Oliver brand that I found. I think I found another couple of other brands too. But anyway, you can see there's an embossment there, a little, almost a round circle looking next to that hole to the right. You can see kind of an embossed deal there, and that's a look at the actual plow itself. Although it's kind of wore down, it's hard to tell what that is. But that straight line that's going to the right on the image is the actual wooden part that would connect up to the horse, and the thing down below is the plow part. It's a little hard to tell in that image what that is. But this is an Oliver 19DS. I looked it up, and I don't really, it's hard to find specific information on specific ones, but it's in the late 1800s, early 1900s is for sure when it is, but I don't know 100%. I think the company was formed around 1850. But anyway, that's just yet another one of those things I found. I bet they wore out a ton of those things here on this rocky ground, you know. All right, let's see. Moving on, what else do I have here? Okay, we're going to do the guitar comparison. I think I've got everything else covered that I was planning to cover. Okay, again, this is the Martin Sigma. I'm going to put the microphone, whoops, let me get back to my big screen, sorry. I'll put the microphone down here and try to hold the guitar up where you can at least see it. This is the Sigma. This is the one I just set up yesterday. And yes, I did make a video, and yes, I will be putting the video out. I might do the video today, depending on what the weather's out there. If the weather clears up, I might try to add another layer on that wall. Are so stiff it's hard to tell if I'm even hitting the right chord. Okay, that's the Martin Sigma. Here's the Martin Special that is owned by Leon. Now this is this one is a real Martin. I don't know if it's a solid wood guitar though or not. I'd say it's got the potential to be a solid wood guitar. I can't, looking at the inside of the back. Now that one for sure, the Sigma was definitely plywood, because the way you can tell that if you don't know, and sometimes they disguise it pretty good, but on that one it's easy to tell, because on the Sigma, the grain on the back, on the inside, is going perfectly straight up and down. I mean absolutely perfectly straight up and down. And the grain on the back is going at an angle like this. So you can obviously tell it's plywood in that case. This one here, I'm not 100% sure. whether it's plywood or not. And I didn't look up this brand to know anything. I'm sure you can Google it and look it up, and some of you already know whether it is or it isn't. And I have no idea. But they disguise this one a lot better if it is plywood. I don't know. But this is a Martin Special is what it's called. Just from observation, this one's got a little warmer sound, if you will. That one there's got a little more crisp sound. That could be the saddle. This has got a micarta saddle. That one's got a bone saddle or antler saddle that I put in it. Now this is the one that I repaired the damage up here where it was cracked. So just so you know, I'll return both of these tonight at Dickey's Barbecue. I can't do anything anymore. And here's the Sigma back one more time. I don't know. They sound a little different for sure. I think in my opinion, they both sound pretty good. Really, I don't see any real problem with either one of them. So I'm interested in your comments. All right, let's go through the comments and see where we're at here. I hope we're not losing a bunch of them today, but we might be. Looks like Mark Nadzum is the first one on there, and that Sigma is owned by Mark. They both seem like good guitars to me, Mark. I think you did good on your purchase or acquirement or however you got the thing. There's Dottie and the Freeze, and I'm looking for question marks as I move down. I don't see any, so maybe we don't have any. Well, I see just one single question mark, but I think it's directed at somebody else. So, moving on down. Well, looks like I see some down here. Dottie says, prayers for the Rosa gang. Well, thank you, Dottie. I appreciate that very much. Thank you for the prayers. I really appreciate it. Bill Mumbo, what's brown and sounds like a bell? Dong. Dong. Oh, boy. Gary Cooper, morning troops, stand at ease. I'll be in the area all day. Okay. Looking for question marks, and now we're down to where we went live. There's a lot of comments before we went live. I don't see any question marks, so I'm going to move on past. And after that, looks like Walt Willard again was number one. I think Walt is watching that countdown and makes his comment there just to get his place as number one there. Bill Mumbo, I use 11 to 52s on my Dreadnought. Oh, by the way, I don't know what strings were on the Martin Special because that was Leon's, and all I did was work on the crack. Although I think I did put strings on that now that I think about it. I guess I did because I did go on the inside of that guitar and I can't get my hand in there with the strings. So I did put new strings on it also. I just forgot. So I'm sure I probably put the lights on both of them then, I would imagine, unless Leon already had strings in there and I don't remember. Can't remember any. It all runs together anymore. So I don't know for sure what's on the Special, but I would imagine they're lights also because that's what I put on the Sigma. So that was light strings on the Sigma, just so you know. That should dispel any rumors, I think, about the light strings sounding wimpy. They don't sound wimpy to me. That thing punches pretty good. Ronald Todd, very nice chirping this morning, and the Sigma has a nice ring to it. Lucky Mark. Well, good. I think it sounds fine. I really do. It seems like a pretty decent guitar to me. Bill Mumbo, spam fritters. Yeah, in a way, that's what all these offers are. It's kind of like spam, but they're all legitimate and they're real products, and it's my choice whether I want to promote them or not. But I really am getting a lot of them. You would not believe how many. And I've accepted a few more. There's going to be a few more coming in. But, that's the pressure to put out the video too. So anyway, but again, obviously I don't want to accept some silly thing. Well, there's been pillows and all kinds of stuff, and I'm not going to accept anything like that. That's just not who I am or what I'm about. Like I said, you can't buy me. I don't care if you offer me $10,000 to promote your product. If it's not something I'm interested in or something that it fits my style or the channel in some way, forget it. I'm not going to do it. I don't care how much money you offer. It's just not something I'm going to do. So you can call me a sellout if you want to, but if you really know me, you'll know I'm never a sellout. So there you go. Because I've already turned down dozens and dozens, and quite a few of those offered to pay money in addition to sending me the product. And I haven't accepted any of those yet. But this one product, it's a product that pretty much everybody uses. So I'd be stupid not to take the product and take the $2,000. You'd have to be stupid. That's where the common sense song comes in. You'd have to be stupid not to do that one. So I'm going to do that one. Well, I think I am. They haven't got back to me yet. I asked them to send me, they wanted me to look at this particular file they had on something about the rules or whatever. And but it all sounded legit and sounded fine. So, but they haven't got back to me with that file yet. They sent me the file. I tried to open it and it wouldn't open. So I said, could you send me another one? Because that one, for some reason, didn't work. Well, anyway, David Tharp says, I've been blessed with a photographic memory. My problem is that I ran out of film a long time ago. I'm right there with you, David. I know exactly what you mean. And Gary Cooper says, only if it's a good product. Well, of course, I've already said that. I'm not going to accept anything that I don't think it's something I can either use or it fits the channel in some way. It's, or Sue can use, And, some of these things, there's been quite a few of them, quite honestly. I didn't even run by Sue that she probably could have used. But it's just something I don't want to do a video on, so I'm not going to accept them. Bruce Ducker, if it's a product you can use, go for it. I'd do it anyway. Dollars in my pocket. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's, there's a common sense side of it. And that part of it, I'm going to do it. But on the other side of it, you can't buy me. I don't care who you are, how much money you got, you can't buy me. Period. There's no discussion beyond that. Lester Cunningham, common sense jury on the products. Yep. And Simon doesn't have any question marks, but he says, if any of your freebie suppliers want to send freebies to Scotland, tell them I'll pay the postage. Yeah, some of these products are pretty nice. I mean, like that Vivor sheet metal press, I mean, I don't have a huge use for that, but I've already got one project for sure that I can use it on, and it's a honeydew thing for Sue. So, yeah, I'll use it. Will I use it very often? Probably not, but when I do need it, it's there, and I've got it. Dottie Hildebrandt, I say if you can use the product, keep it and put the money in your pocket. Well, yeah. And again, you have to remember also that the only source of income I have in the world this day and time are my YouTube videos and a little bit of, Social Security that you get, which ain't much. So that's it. So if I don't do it, I'm kind of stupid, really. Okay. Moving on down. Let's see here. It scrolled on me. I just don't. Yeah. Bruce Ducker says, one thing about the money, don't let it influence your rating. If it sucks canal water, be so, Right. Well, first of all, I don't plan to accept anything unless I think it's going to be a decent product. Like that lawnmower, I gotta be honest, that was on the fence. I was on the fence about that one. It's like, I don't know if that's any good or not, especially 40 volt. I thought, well, only 40 volt? I would think that'd be 80 volt or something, bigger. But honestly, it works pretty good. And for a very small lawn, to me, it's perfect. I don't think you could do much better on a very small lawn. Preston Johnson, hey, Jerry, absolutely accept the promos. It helps you, if it helps you keep your show going, take them all. Everyone will benefit. Well, and that's part of it, too. I mean, again, I don't want to wear everybody out with promos. But on the other hand, on certain things, if I can demonstrate how I can use it, well, then it's worth it to me. Recharge cats and dolts, rechargeable battery. If you're talking about the lawnmower, yes, it's a rechargeable battery. I don't know what else we're talking about there. Jardine, Simon Jardine, yes, cats, it has to be. Okay, yeah, so that must be what you're talking about. Outboard Tinkerer, hello, Jerry. What's the best glue for binding to a banjo neck and resonator? Well, for my money, you can't go wrong with that canopy glue. I think it's called Formula 560 canopy glue. It's on the products I use page. I would prefer you go there and buy it from there, because then I do get a tiny little kickback, and on your $5 or $6 product, I'm going to make 3 or 4 cents. So, but I would still prefer if you would buy it from there. Anyway, canopy glue is what I would recommend for binding. Now, if it's the old style binding, if you know that it's I can't think of the words, Cella something, the old binding that's acetate based, that melts when you put that like model airplane glue on it, which is the other glue that I use is the, can't think of it either right now, but it's on the products I use page also. God, I can't think of it right now, but it's essentially model airplane glue, and it melts the plastic. So if it's the really old kind of binding, then you would want to use that. But even the canopy Formula 560 will work. The advantage of the canopy glue is that it won't screw up your finish. It's water-based, where the other glue is acetone-based, and it will melt your finish. So that's the old bindings were used, were melted together and were able to be more seamless because of that. And that old glue, gosh, it's still escaping me. I know it's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it. But comes in a tube, and it's still a toothpaste tube is the old glue, like model airplane glue. I can't think of it. I know it, but I just can't think of it. Mark Nadzum says, speaking of gasoline, Jerry, there is a fuel treatment I swear by called K100. It's the best and keeps fuel fresh for years. I use it everything I run. We'll have to look into that, because I have never really used any fuel treatments. I don't know. I use most everything that's got fuel in it around here don't sit very long. That's the truth. Even my chainsaws don't sit very long. I mainly use them during the winter, and they don't ever sit in the winter. I mean, like every day they're being used just about. But in the summer and springtime, they get a little rest every few days, though, that something comes out for something. It just happens that way around here on this place. It's a lot to maintain, Ronald Todd, Jerry, as far as hawking merchandise goes, you got to do what's best for you and Sue. We'll adjust. You're not the only YouTuber in that position. Yeah. Well, yeah. And, I think at least most of the channels that I watch, they are kind of doing the same thing. If it's something they can use, they promote it. And if it's not, then they generally don't. Now, another thing you're not going to see me promote probably, and I say probably because I haven't heard the right product yet, so maybe. But you're not going to probably hear me promoting these health food things and health drinks and all that junk, because I'm not into it. For one thing, it's the taste, so you're probably not going to see me promoting, AG1 or something like that. I haven't even tasted the stuff. I have no idea what it tastes like, but it doesn't look like something I would be interested in. But then again, if they send me a free sample and I like it, well, then again, who knows? You just never know. So I don't say never on very many things, but you won't see me sell out. That's one thing for sure. I don't care how much money you got. You can't buy me not one little tiny bit, because I'm not interested in money. It's just enough. As long as I can pay my bills, I'm a happy guy. Cup of Cool. You'd be silly, man, not to take promos, and we all know you're not silly. Funny, yes, sir. Silly, no. Well, thank you. Moving on down. Jeff Purist. 2 great sounding guitars, just different. Yep, I think so. The Sigma sounds better. Well, okay. I think they both sound good. I think the Leon's guitar sounds a little warmer. The Sigma to me sounds a little bit more crisp, and sometimes that's good. It just depends on what you're doing, what kind of music you're playing and that kind of thing. But they both sound good. I mean, I don't think there's any downside to either one of them. They just sound a little different. Mark says we'll be up there tonight, okay? And then Ben Boyd, both sound good, but I prefer the brighter sounding Sigma. Think changing the special saddle to antler would probably put it ahead of the Sigma. Yeah, and that's a possibility because it still has a micarta saddle. I didn't bother with that. That's not what it was here for. I was just fixing the problem of the crack. But, I think that antler saddle does make them pop pretty good. It's hard to beat bone. And like I said, antler and bone in a blind test, I doubt very many people could hear the difference. In fact, I doubt hardly anybody could. Let's see. Bill Mumbo. Oops, it's scrolling again. The Martin sounds slightly richer and is overdriving the mic more. Okay. Rod Wintler, when you went to comments, you were missing the first 10. I could see them. I'll be darned. That's weird. I'll be darned. That's just weird. Well, if I missed your comment, be sure to put it back in here with some question marks. Sorry. Because the first one I saw was the first one I saw, as I mentioned earlier, and I think that was Mark. Rod Wintler, when you went to... Oh, sorry, I read that one. Gary Hayden. Jerry, I don't think your video aspect ratio will work with your live concerts. You're right. I got to fix it. Yeah, I know. But like I said, and I don't mean to make it sound like I'm whining. I'm just telling you a black and white fact. There's nothing intuitive about this software. Nothing. And everything should be. It just burns my britches, man. I'm seriously telling you, there's no reason why every piece of software out there in the world can't be intuitive. There's no reason. I don't give a rat's rear end what anybody says. They can all be intuitive. This one is the least intuitive of anything I've ever used in my life. There's nothing about it that's intuitive, not one thing. And it's really sad. I mean, I know how to get around in it and do what I need to do until you get to something like that. And, it's set the aspect ratio. What do you think? That's all you got to do is look for aspect ratio, right? Good luck finding that. And then second of all, the things that sound like you could do something in there, they've got the round circle with the line across it. So when your cursor goes over it, it changes to that. You can't do anything with that. It makes no sense at all. And I've done it before. I found it, but you got to remember where you found it. And there's multiple menus deep on this thing. It's pitiful. It's just pitiful design. I mean, it's great software in the sense that it does what it does. It's great software. It's a poor design software. It could be designed so much better. People like that need to hire me. I'd turn their world upside down in a heartbeat. They wouldn't even know what hit them. It's pitiful. It's just pitiful. All right, it scrolled on me, and I don't know where I'm at. I'm sorry. Boy. Okay, moving on down. Chipwood, is the charging system still working well on the side-by-side? Yeah, it is. And I'll tell you what happened, Chip, on that was I put that charger on that thing, and I don't know, just a day or two later, I had to put the battery charger on the thing. It wasn't doing it. But that was the only time that I've had to put the battery charger on it since I put the charging system on that thing. Ever since then, it's started every single time, and on top of that, it started multiple times because there's another problem with that thing that I can't figure out for nothing. Unless you have the idle just right on it, it'll die on you, and it just dies constantly. As soon as you stop, it dies. And I've set the idle, and I've set the idle, and I've set the idle, and I've set the idle. I mean, I'm seriously telling you, you couldn't even count how many times I've set the idle on that thing. And it'll work for 15 minutes, and then a few minutes later, the idle's not right again. And I can't figure out why that keeps happening. I mean, I've looked at it. You know me, if it's a simple problem, I'll fix it in a heartbeat. It ain't simple, obviously, and I can't figure it out for nothing. It's just so stupid. It's just so dumb. But anyway, because of that, I've started it gazillions of times. It puts a lot of pressure on the battery, and it keeps up. No problem. So I'm real happy with that charger. Again, that's on the Products I Use page. I mean, that's a really good battery tender, if you want to call it that. And the reason it's a more powerful one, and it's better. Some people think, well, get the little tiny trickle charger. No, get the big one, and it's got a regulator built in, and so it won't overcharge your battery, but it'll keep up, And so if I was you and you thinking about anything like that, I'd get the one I picked there, because I picked the biggest one I could find for a reasonable price, obviously, and it's a reasonable price, I think. So anyway, that's a really good product I use. If I was you and you had a need for it, I'd get that one. Dave Hunt, were you under a tornado watch last night? Well, if we were, I was dumb to it. I didn't know it if we were. Yeah, I don't know. Sue might know. She pays attention to that stuff. I'm I'm surrounded by a log cabin, surrounded by a house. So I don't even. I mean, unless it's really loud thunder, I don't hear it. It's super quiet in here. Let's see. Moving on. Kat says it loves and needs light strings. Well, I'm not sure who she's talking to on that, or if that's to me, but there's no question mark, so I'm just going to pass on. See, Bruce Ducker, I can see how now, but wait, there's more. I can see it now, but wait, there's more. Okay. Celluloid binding. Yeah, celluloid. That's what I knew it started with a C. I couldn't think of the word. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. And it's like the old celluloid movies. Those have deteriorated over years because of the celluloid. And the old bindings, they get brittle and cracked too, but they will melt together with that like model airplane like glue, which is Beacon 529 or something like that. Anyway, it's called Beacon, and it's on my Products I Use page, and that's for melting the old plastics together on the old bindings. And it will melt the plastic actually to the wood also. So it's a good binding glue for the old kinds of bindings. But for the newer PVC bindings, I mean, it works, but it's not my first choice. The Canopy glue is much better for the new PVC bindings. Plus, like I said, you don't even have to worry at all about it ruining your finish. The Canopy glue is completely finish friendly. It won't cause you any problem with your finish. So that's really cool. James Copy, my Texas Blue Lacy puppy is 2.5 months old, and I will see how she does finding antler sheds. Maybe she can compete with Sadie. Yeah, well, she won't have to try too hard. Now, Sadie does pretty good on that. She does. That's the one thing so far she does pretty good on, but the rest of the stuff, she's not exactly the most obedient pooch. she's a good pup, but just not what I was looking for, really. Ben Boyd, I don't think anyone called Mean Joe Green a sellout for promoting Coca-Cola or George Foreman for his grill, and you're way tougher than them. Yeah, well, yeah. That's why I never got into prize fighting. I didn't want murder charges brought against me. Anyway, Zappa says, Jerry, since you are dealing with Vivor, you might be interested in their ultrasonic cleaner. Well, I've already got an ultrasonic cleaner, and it works pretty good. So, yeah, I would for sure had I not already had one. So, I don't know. I asked Vivor to send me one of those, I don't know, like power stations, I guess is what you call it. One that will almost power your house type of thing. And it wasn't a super expensive one. It was like $600 or something. And they said, no, that's not within our our promotion for the U.S. or something like that. And I said, oh, okay, fine. So that's when I picked the sheet metal brake. And he says, yes, I'll send that to you. So he sent it, and I've got it. Now I got to make a video. Cup of cool. I have some cabbage seeds that grow in canal. I like this. I've got some cabbage seeds that grow in canal water and smell like hide glue. Wondering if you would promote that for me. I can't stand to be in the house when she starts cooking cabbage. I'm not kidding you. I have to leave. It is so foul. I cannot see how anybody can put that in their mouth. Oh, I can't. You can just say I'm an idiot. I don't care. I just don't get it. I don't see how you can possibly put that in your mouth. Pitiful. Bill Webb. I ask about the depth of string slots on the wooden saddle. I filled it and sanded the saddle so that the string slots were just barely there. Made a huge difference in the sound. Yeah, for sure. On a movable bridge, any of those wooden saddles that sit on top, the slots should always be just a hint of a slot. Really. Very most depth would be half the depth of the string, but really you're better off if it's just a hint of a slot. So yeah, you're better off. Zappa, my view of chat shows, John Pepper came on first. My view of chat shows, John Pepper came on first. John Pepper sounds familiar, but I don't know why. Maybe because somebody on here's last name is Pepper, I thought. I don't know. I don't know what that's about. Sorry, I missed that one. Dennis Moon, so I guess promoting hide glue is out of the question. Not likely. It's not likely. Let me think about this. Could I sell out to hide glue for any reason? If they wanted me to glue labels in their instruments, and that's the only reason they wanted me to pay it to promote it for that, I would say fine. Because I have used it to glue labels and instruments. That's it. That's the only thing I would use it for. And again, you couldn't pay me beyond that. I mean, for labels and instruments, pay me whatever you want. I'll take that, but not for anything else. Bruce Decker, clean the carb. What are we talking about here? Clean the carb. Are you talking about like when a lawnmower sits over the winter, clean the carb? Well, I don't know what you're talking about there, so sorry. Zappa, Jerry, put some blue Loctite on the idle screw. Oh. Now I know what we're talking about. We're talking about the Ranger, Polaris Ranger. Geez, I forgot I even said that. Well, cleaning the carb ain't going to do much. It's a fuel injection deal. It runs fine. It's just that it's hard to explain. It's a cable that comes around. One goes to the throttle on the fuel injection or whatever that is. I don't even know what it is. The other end goes to the brake pedal, I guess. I mean, to the gas pedal. Well, yeah, I guess that's where it goes. Well, anyway, in the middle of this, there's this screw thing, and you can expand the length of the cable or shorten it. I have expanded and shortened it so many times. It's like a breath. You just whisper at it, and you've gone too far. I mean, like you could take it like a quarter turn, and sometimes you're too far, and it'll idle way too fast. Then you go, you put it back, and now you're way too slow. And, a lot of times I get it just right, and I'll get it just exactly right. And you think, all right, it's fixed. And it works fine. You shut it off. You stop, and it still keeps idling, and it's idling perfect. And maybe the next 5 times you stop, it's perfect. Then the next time, it's either dying or it's too fast. It's idling too fast. It's the craziest thing, and I looked at it 7 ways to sundown, and I can't figure out why. Like I said, if it's simple, like cleaning a carburetor, I've done that 19,000 times. I'll bet I've cleaned more carburetors than anybody on this list. I'll bet you, because that's what I used to do for my dad's lawn service. And back in those days, in the 70s, 80s, and all that, that's all you did with engines was clean carburetors. And I've cleaned more carburetors than Carter's got liver pills. So if it's simple, guys, I'm telling you, I got it figured out. It's just not simple. If it was, I'd already had it figured out. Moving on. And did I lose my place here? I think I did. Okay. Yeah, so the idle screw it's not an idle screw in this case. It's this long cable that lengthens or shortens. That's the way you adjust it. Yeah, it's crazy. DE. Jerry, I think your ranting on poor software design is rubbing off on me. My bank recently redesigned their app, and I used it a couple of times. I sent them a rant on the poor new design. Yeah, well, I've told this before. Well, first of all, I've already told you that I designed systems for Southwestern Bell, and I was a stickler on, I want to look at it and know how to use it. Don't throw me this bunch of crap, that you can't do this because of X, Y, Z. You can do it, and you will do it, or my users won't be using it. And so that's the way it was. Well, during that time, it was, I don't remember now when I went to Yellow Pages, when I moved jobs and I went to Yellow Pages. It just so happened that my boss there was well, he was a software nut for one thing, but he was an accounting major, and he reviewed accounting software for different companies. Well, and he put out reviews and wrote reviews and things for accounting software. Well, I said, well, man, that's right up my alley. What program would you recommend? Well, he recommended MYOB, which was, and it really was, and still is, the program I use. It was an excellent accounting program. I mean, it's excellent. But when I started using it, I got into it, and I go, wow, this is great. I really like it. But man, do you know how much easier it would be if you just change this and change that? And I sent them a letter, and I can't remember how many suggestions I made to them. And it was like 12 suggestions, approximately. And about 8 of them were in their next release. And they thanked me for it. They said it was great. So, I mean, it's just stuff like that. It's just simple, common sense stuff. And 99 times out of 100, there's an easier way to do it than the people are doing it, It's, I don't know how to explain it. All software should be intuitive, or at least not so stupidly designed that you can't figure it out if you spend 15, 20 minutes looking, I mean, if it's that complicated, it's not right. So there you go. Like I always say, take that to your bank. Well, D, you apparently did. Daddy Elderman. Jerry, have you checked your email for Caroline's email? Yeah, I sent it to you yesterday. Yeah, you didn't get it? Because I did send it yesterday. In fact, I forwarded it and put Caroline in there as a recipient also, so that you would both see that I forwarded it. Anyway, I did it. And by the way, I also found the first email too. So, but I don't know how I missed it, because I did look for that specifically. Excuse me, and I never did see it, but it was sure there. So, both of them were there actually. Bruce Hines, clean the throttle body on the inside and spray carb cleaner and toothbrush. Well, I'll try that. I mean, I don't know. I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about fuel injection. I don't know a lot about that. So, yeah, I'll see what I can do. But it's got something to do with this linkage, I think. I really do. And in fact, it's so touchy on that linkage. If you don't put the linkage, this cable, back in the exact same spot, that'll change the speed of it. Just that. It's crazy. I don't know. I really can't figure it out. It's just nuts. Bill Mumbo, cabbage and hide glue stew. Delicious. You'd have to shoot me in the head, I guarantee you. Let's see. Okay, last one here. Carolyn Fike. I got it. Emailed it to Dottie. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, I sent it. I know I did. That part I'm sure of. Whether or not you got it or not, I don't know. And if I have to resend it, let me know. But as far as it looks like, since Carolyn got it, I think you guys are in good shape. So anyway, that's it for today. And I'm going to do something. It looks like the sun's out right now. It had been raining and it was wet this morning. But if the sun's out, I'm going to try to add one more lift to that wall today. And, yeah, I should have done it yesterday because it turned out to be a fairly decent day, really. And I didn't, so. But I had to get that guitar fixed anyway, so that's what I did in the morning. And then I went metal detecting late in the afternoon. So we will see you tomorrow with something else. If you can make it to Dickie's this evening, do that. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.